All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Tucson. It's your boy, Dr. Holt. It's the Fresh Start Show with Dr. Holt. You hear me say every Saturday morning, get up, get your pajamas on, get your coffee, get your mocha latte, get your Captain Crunch, your Fruit Loops, and your Apple Jacks, and your oatmeal, whatever you like. It's time for us to get up and join the conversation with Dr. Holt and the Fresh Start Show. You know we're here every single Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. It goes down on 106 The Groove. Listen, we got another great episode for our Fresh Start Show, and we're so thankful for all of our partners and our listeners who tune in every single Saturday on your weekend to just listen to us as we speak about the issues. The Fresh Start Show is a straight up radio show that talks about the tough issues in our communities in our city. This show is specifically dealing with justice reform, specifically talking about the struggles of being incarcerated and the former incarcerated. We know in this country, when you get a felony in this country, you got some serious issues when you come out of prison. It's hard to get a job and employment. It's hard to get housing and things of that nature. And so that's why we talk about these issues, to let you know that even though that you may have a rough road ahead, never to give up, never to quit, but to have a level of persistency and resilience in trying to capture your dream. And so today we have a special guest. We go a few years way back, actually from TUSD when he was an educator.
That's right.
To now being our Pima County Superintendent of Schools. And so we have Dustin Williams with us on today. You'll love this guy. This guy have just a flamboyant personality, really easy to like. I've been liking Dustin for a good while. Understand the struggles of what our schools are seeing and all of that. And I just wrote my second book. Please go to Amazon and Barnes & Nobles to grab it. Trauma is the new public health emergency in education. We are losing our schools to all of this trauma going on. And until we treat trauma as a public health emergency, we are always going to remain behind. And so please go get that book. Go check it out. It will change your life. If you're an educator, you're a school psychologist, if you're a counselor, social worker, heck, if you work in juvenile justice, this book is really going to help you to understand what is going on in our educational system. Without further ado, I want to make sure we give him enough time to talk, because Dustin liked to talk, so we got the right person.
That's right.
To come on.
That's right.
And be with us. So again, this is Dustin Williams, our elected superintendent, Pima County Superintendent of Schools, and he also got a re-election coming up. So we're glad to have you. So what's going on, Mr. Williams?
Dr. Holt, glad to be on. Glad to be here with your listeners on Fresh Start.
Yeah.
And this is really nice. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, man, I told you that I'm going to get you. So now we finally was able to get our calendars together and have you to come. I know a lot of people hear about the role of superintendent, and for the most part, traditionally people think of when you're superintendent over a certain school district, which we do have superintendents of different school districts, but perhaps a lot of people don't understand what does the role of a Pima County superintendent looks like, and what is your daily grind every single day? What are you doing? What's your responsibilities? Can you talk into that? And how did you even get into this role?
So, well, first I got into it with my passion of just education, started coaching. I've been doing, working with youth for, going on close to probably 30 years now, starting coaching, got into teaching, got into administration and principalship of schools, then got into politics, then became what's called the elected county school superintendent. So in Arizona, there's 15 counties, and each county has one elected county school superintendent, which is kind of your chief education officer for the day-to-day operations for all the schools. Wow. So in Pima County, you got about 400 schools here. You got about 150,000 kids. You got about 30,000 employees, all running around day-to-day doing the grind.
Wow.
And so every 4 years, you elect someone to kind of oversee that. They don't have authority on the schools, but they kind of run the day-to-day operations with the schools. So for instance, our office, you will be in charge of administering money. That's a big thing that comes through. We're just like a row office. So you have a county treasurer, an assessor, county of attorney. You also have schools. Same sort of row office in there. So big things we do, 3 huge things we do, 365 days a year, never stops. And one is that admin piece is the money. We'll balance about $2 billion that comes through a year, and we're balancing the books with the schools to make sure that the money flow is there. And again, we don't have authority, so we take that money, making sure that the schools are allocating their dollars appropriately and it's balancing up on our books. And then schools and their elected governing board members, they are the authority for how they want to spend those dollars. So if they want to do better math programs, athletics, reading programs, technology, whatever they want to do in their school, they make those decisions with their elected governing board members.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't even know that that's how it works. So you're saying that the different school districts in the county that gets money to function actually comes from your office?
It's a pass-through. So
Okay.
we'll get to see those dollars. To collect those dollars, and probably 80-90% of all the money that schools get
Yeah.
comes from taxing homeowners. And that those dollars come through by basically setting a tax rate. So we're also your office. If you own a home
Yeah.
and you live in a district, I'll use Amphi or TUSD or Sarita or Catalina Foothills. If you look at your tax statement each year, part of however much you're paying for your taxes goes to that district school through a tax rate. So we set that tax rate for you. It's basically an algorithm. There's not a lot of leeway on, how you manipulate that. It's just kind of the numbers that the state works with, the county works with, and then the cost of basically how much all the net assets are in that district comes out with the number, and boom, you're going to get funded, whether it's going to be $2 million or it's going to be $500 million a year for your district. That money's going to come to us, and we're going to make sure that you get it. And then when you allocate those dollars, we're going to make sure that they're getting allocated correctly and balanced up so that
Nice.
everybody's on the same page.
So what does your relationship look like as the county superintendent? What does it look like far as your relationship with the district superintendents? Is that important to make sure that you guys are coming together for greater causes?
Yeah, so when we do these services for the money part, you're working primarily only with district schools. You're
Yeah.
not working with charter schools for money,
Gotcha.
private schools for money, or the homeschool population for money. Just the money part and the administration pieces, you're working really, really closely with the district schools. So that relationship is daily. So you're going to have conversations for whatever is going on and whatever type of need. Again, 3 parts of what our office does. We've got the admin piece. We also run a professional development piece. And then we also have one school that is ours, and we'll talk a little bit more about that because that's in the Justice area,
Yeah.
which is the Accommodation School District, located in the Juvenile Detention Center and the jail. But for the relationship piece, you're constantly on the phone. We're meeting monthly with all the groups of superintendents.
Okay.
And you're just talking about what's happening as far as day-to-day operations, best practices, strategies for what's happening at the legislature,
Yeah.
which is a very challenging time
Yeah.
at this moment for certain reasons and
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
So it's got to be one that's really close. It's got to be very professional, and you got to be available 24/7 for their needs.
Nice, nice. So one of the big things I want to really highlight on our show is talking about an issue that is nationwide, is the school to prison pipeline, where we have too many at-risk youth, too many poor kids, most definitely a lot of students of color, matriculating through the process or the pipeline to prison. And I know that you, in your role, have a division that's already in the juvenile detention center. So I want you to talk into what are some of the issues we're seeing. We're seeing having too many kids going through that pipeline to prison, impacting their lives too early in their lives, that's having this long-term trajectory of a negative impact.
Yeah, so that's something very unique about being an elected county school superintendent. Remember, we don't have authority on schools, but one school we do.
Okay.
And you inherit this school when you get elected. And it's the school that's actually located in the juvenile detention center and then also the adult jail.
Okay.
So I work directly with the presiding judge, or I'm going to work directly with the elected sheriff.
Okay.
So if
So
you're
Chris Nanos and
and Judge Hockley,
Hockley,
that's right.
right.
Also with Judge Quigley, we work a lot with at the courts. But
Okay.
yeah, right now Nanos. Before that, it was Napier.
yeah,
They're in charge of the building. We're in charge of the education of the kids. So when we talk about justice reform and we talk about school to prison pipeline, these are my kids.
right, right.
So what's interesting is you can talk about district schools, you can talk about charter schools, private schools, and homeschool community. And by law, you need to be in one of those between the ages of 6 and 16. You must be enrolled in one of those avenues. Well, just because you're incarcerated, you still need to have a world-class education. And that's where we come into play with our office, and we service those students. And those students no longer have a district, charter, private, or a homeschool label.
Yeah,
They're all together in one school now. So we have a blend of everything that's coming through. So when we talk about school to prison pipeline, for me, it's really, really hard because I just don't think we're making the headway we need to be making.
and where do you think that issue is coming from?
So what happens for me is I see a lot of people working with adults, and rightfully so.
Right.
And there's a lot of things happening for adulthoods that are incarcerated and what's happening there. But believe me, I'm seeing these students when they're in elementary school and middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And I may be seeing them not one time in a year,
Right.
but maybe 16 times.
Wow.
So that
Wow.
recidivism that we talk about,
Yep.
it doesn't just poof start as an adult or even as a high schooler. And it will sometimes, but
Right,
those
right.
statistics are not normal.
Yeah.
You can see the trajectory of how these students are starting to get in trouble at school.
Mm-hmm.
You can see them starting to get what they call referrals, police reports.
Yep.
They can be as young as second, third grade. Not necessarily entering our juvenile system at second or third grade, although you can be as young as 8. But we will start seeing them in elementary school. And then what you really start to look at is how can we really tackle these issues at these younger ages to prevent all of this and not be so reactive as a community. And that's where I see the issues of the school to prison pipeline
Yeah.
is we're still in a very reactive mode,
Yeah.
trying to solve the life issue of someone that might be 18 to 22 years old, but has had a life of crime
Right.
and trauma that we really needed to do a lot of work, and we really needed a lot of people working together to
Yeah.
help that individual and that family,
Yeah.
which is a big partner in
Yes,
this
it
whole
is.
thing at that really young age.
Wow. Wow. How important is it to have parents partnering in this endeavor? Because a lot of times parents are like, I can't control them. That's why I send them to you. I know when I'm traveling doing this work, I hear that a lot. And believe it or not, it's not a handoff. It's the village. It's all of us working together. And this is your kid. And one thing I can't control, I can't control family dynamics, even as an expert. How is it important for listeners listening in when we're talking about helping Johnny and helping Susie? How is it important for mom and dad to be part of this initiative?
Yeah, mom and dad are 100% the whole a guardian, nana,
Yeah.
papa,
Yeah.
whoever is
Yeah.
taking that role. Bless you, thank you for doing what you're doing. But they're the quarterback. You know, these kids and these young youth and opportunity youth, whatever you want to call them, they need role models. They need guidance. You know, school's going to do what school can do.
Yeah.
But I mean, schools can only do so much.
Yeah.
I mean, they're educating your son or daughter every single day, and their job is to educate your son or daughter.
Yeah.
When it comes to the home life at home, or really what's also really important about that, so not necessarily just how important is the mom or the dad or the guardian, how important is the environment that individual is in
Mm-hmm.
and their surrounding of people around them.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's if you need a lifeline, you need help, and you want to get out of a bad situation, or if you want to just improve your situation and make it better, it's really good to get involved with people that are making change.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Super important. I mean, that's where it is. If you look at the lifestyle, I mean, all the kids that I have coming through the system right now, it's an unfortunate thing, but a lot of them in the foster care. been in and out of foster cares.
Yeah.
Some of the kids that are locked up in our jail system, their mom or dad are locked up at the adult side of the jail.
Yeah.
So I have
that's true.
I have the one
Very true.
I have
That's
the
very
one
true.
student in the juvenile pod, and I have his parents in the adult
Wow.
side.
Wow.
Think about that.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And that's a reality happening right now as we speak.
yes.
All the time, day
Yeah.
in and day out.
Yeah.
I mean, school goes 180, 200 days a year. The jails are open 365 days a year.
Right. Wow. And what does being too punitive and not restorative enough have a play into this? Because too many kids are also we're just finding reasons to suspend and expel and keep them out of a controlled education environment. And I've always said from my work, if you don't keep kids behind books, we're going to put them behind bars. That's just a fact. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's a really good metric of measurement that I think a lot of people are trying to find. Are we being too soft? Are we being too hard? It's kind of like a whole messed up bowl of porridge on that story of the Three Bears. I think, there was a trend where we were locking up kids a lot.
Yeah.
And that kind of broke away probably about 6 years ago, maybe even 8 years ago.
Yeah.
The mind frame changed at the court systems that it's not in the best interest to lock up a student.
Yeah.
We also know what's interesting when you lock up an individual or an individual is incarcerated. Even stepping on the grounds of a juvenile detention center. So if you enter the juvenile detention center and you're incarcerated for 2-3 days, your statistics of making it to prison have skyrocketed.
Almost definitely.
and not just a little. You're talking massive increases, 50% or higher.
Yeah.
So the key is, if we know those statistics get them closer to prison, then maybe it's more importantly to figure out how we don't get them over to the juvenile side.
Yeah.
Now here's something that that I've noticed a little bit also. And this is something that's very interesting, and I don't know where this goes in sort of the metrics, but when these students are locked up and they kind of get in what I like to call the cycle, and we've opened up a program called the Pima Cycle Breaker. It's to break this cycle.
Yeah.
But when some certain students are in this cycle at a certain age, typically right around your 13 to 17, some of them thrive in it. They're really good in the system. They like the adrenaline rush. They like the chase. And there is a status of when they make it to the jail side of the county. That status then trickles back to their environment, like you were saying. What's that home life?
Yeah.
Those statuses and that type of ideology is something that I don't know. How do you overcome that demographics? Kind of build it, and we will come. Some of the people I don't know, getting them to get the help if they truly want it because they're just not ready, and that is the real hard part in the business of the school to prison pipeline, when you've got players that are unfortunately enjoying the ride.
Wow. It's mind-boggling. It's heartbreaking sometimes, because sometimes you just wish you could just change these trajectories, but I can't want it more than the individual that I wanted to want it.
Yeah.
They at some point have to make up in their mind that they want to take control of their future, and say enough is enough of the same stuff that's been happening. Well, we only got a few more minutes left on the show. What is your takeaway? What you want Tucson to know about? What are you doing? What are some programs that you're doing that's effective in this work that you would love the community to know about? Yeah.
So, I just want everyone to know we're at schools.pima.gov. We want to be a partner. We want people to, as you and I talk a lot, Dr. Holt, unsilo.
Yeah.
We want to see
huge.
actionable measurable outcomes.
And we don't need no more meetings, right?
But, look, as much as I like committees, I gotta,
we don't need 50 meetings.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like businesses to come to the table to provide jobs. I'd like businesses and organizations to come together to provide resources. I'd like people to know that your county school superintendent's offices work directly with these individuals. I want also everyone to understand that these students that are incarcerated or are on this path are brilliant.
Yeah.
They're
very brilliant.
They're actually, they made some really bad mistakes, and I never discount that there's a victim.
Right. That's right.
But they are incredible individuals. One small example, I know we only have a minute. Just had a student. He's 17 years old. Technically, he's 18. He just turned 18.
Okay.
And went to the adult side. Passed his GED with the highest GED test that we've ever seen in one day.
Wow.
So think about that mind.
Yeah.
Where could that
we got
mind?
a lot of brilliance sitting up there locked up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What could these minds be doing for our community? So let's get them out of jail. Let's put them to work and do some good stuff for our community.
Awesome. You heard it, guys. Dustin Williams, our superintendent of Pima County Schools, is in the house with us on today. We most definitely having them back. I want you to bring some of those kiddos. I want to hear some of the testimonials. I think it comes real when people actually really hear some authentic stories of a before and after picture. And let us not forget about the power of resilience. Maybe they started out bad. Maybe they started out with some bad choices. But with the right love and the right support services, wraparound services, and things of that nature, our kiddos can bounce back. Our kids can do some great things. Listen, we have the Fresh Start in the School to Prison Pipeline Conference coming up May 13th. We've just asked Dustin Williams to be our partner in that. I just think that him and his office will be huge when it comes to the work that we're trying to do. Listen, we're not trying to have 50 meetings about a cause we know is a problem. So we making that clear. We're not having 200 meetings, about an issue that when do we get to the point of taking action? So this is also a call of action. This is not just for us to sit around, just look at data and this and that. Now, I do believe in being in data driven in all of our causes, but we're not just going to sit there and just look at graphs and percentages and yet don't have a call of action. So we want you to join us in our calls. We're calling all of our kiddos to come join us at Palo Verde High School on May 13th from 9 a.m. To 2 p.m. We're just going to have a great time at that conference. And so we're happy that Dustin Williams and the county superintendent's office is going to be working with us. We got Lance Meek with Goodwill that's going to partner. Our police chief with TPD, Chad Kazmar, is partnering with us as well. I mean, we're going to have a huge conference. I want us all bringing as many at-risk youth to this conference. We're going to have breakout classes and workshops for them. That's going to be hitting on all those different areas. So we're still at the beginning stages, but I just want you to mark your calendar, save the date. Fresh Start in the School to Prison Pipeline is coming your way. I've already signed the contract for a Fresh Start in October, the Fresh Start Expo, October 21st. If you have a felony in this in this state, we know 200,000 felons will not be able to vote just alone because of having a felony. But great news, Fresh Start is going to be here to help you like we did last year. Last year, we squashed over 200 warrants last year.
That's great.
So if you got pending warrants and you're tired of looking over your back, Fresh Start can help you. You got suspended driver's license, Fresh Start can help you. If you a felon that's haven't voted in 20 years, we can help you get your voters' rights restored. Fresh Start can help you. If you need a job, we're going to have felony-friendly employers at the table giving jobs out for those that have background issues. So the housing will be there. Justice courts will be there. City courts will be there. Superior courts will be there. Laura Conover and her team, the county attorney's office will be here. Megan Page, the public defender's office will be here. You don't want to miss it. Save the date. October 21st, we will be at the Tucson Convention Center. Our mayor will be there again. speaking unto us and many other leaders, so you do not want to miss it. So again, thank you for your time. Don't forget to get the new book, Trauma is the New Public Health Emergency in Education, on Amazon. We're looking forward to you. Meet us back here next Saturday at 7:30. And we thank you for your time. Have a wonderful weekend.